Hi everyone, Beth Sager here, and what I thought I'd talk about today is what is going on in the economy that is creating the storm that is making the Federal Reserve increase our interest rates, which by the way have practically doubled since the beginning of the year. So the economy is basically made up of three things in its simplest terms. First of all is, are people working? And this is our unemployment numbers monthly. And as you can see, they've been pretty steady and they're pretty low. I mean, as you see out in the world these days, people are hiring everywhere, there's not enough employees, and our unemployment numbers are great. Very solid, very capped at a very good rate, not going up and down. So that's one thing. People are working. Next is GDP, are people spending? The number that the government is looking for here is about 2%, 2 to 3%. So as you can see in these numbers, we get here, that's the pandemic, people stop spending and then they have nothing else to do, so they start spending again. That's when we were all sitting home. Frankly, when you have 2 quarters of negative, which we have here now, we are considered to be in a recession. Now, it is a voting year, midterm elections, so people are not trying to use the word recession right now, but once the numbers come out for the third quarter, if the 3 numbers are negative, which they probably will be, officially it is a recession. Now, recessions don't translate into real estate prices in a negative way. It's a positive, it can be a very positive way, so that isn't bad for our real estate. But here is the bad number. So this is inflation monthly. So the projected inflation that the federal government would like to see is 2%. And you can see sort of since the pandemic started, and we started to have supply side issues. This is when people started spending again in early 21. They're trying to spend, supplies down, people aren't working, prices are going up, and our inflation numbers are sort of off the chart. And if you look at this chart, which is our annual projected, you can see up here how so drastically high they have gone. And you can't really see it, but the numbers have come down just a tiny little bit, like a smidge. So what can the government do to get these numbers down? Well, they can put the brakes on our spending, and putting the brakes on our spending in a big way is to increase our interest rates. So, I mean, as anyone could tell you, the real estate market in the past 4 months has sort of gotten much, much slower. Here in our area, we're lucky because we're insulated by a lot of things like good jobs and good schools, etc. But across the country, that's not necessarily the case. If you look at the Vegas market, like it's come to a standstill. The inventory is huge and there is no one in buying because they're so worried about what the Fed is doing. So hopefully the Fed waits to see what happens to these numbers, get a couple of months in before they continue their increase of interest rates. But that is what we're trying to get to, this magical 2. Now you can only imagine this is like turning the Queen Mary inside like the Charles River, right? Super hard to do. They basically take a sledgehammer to it, and they have been this whole year, and hopefully it'll get a little bit more finessed and our interest rates will sort of head back down, and that is the intention. But that is sort of, the economic factors that are playing into the real estate market right now. Just to recap, we have jobs, people are working. GDP, although showing sort of a bit of a recession, is not far off of what we want it to be at 2. And then we have the bad news, inflation, which we're trying to get a hold of. So if you need any more information or you want to chat about it or talk more about how it does actually affect the real estate market, you know where to find me. Have a great day.